morning and God bless you. Certainly we thank God for another Sunday morning. Just want to share with you what I've been experiencing and going through in the midst of this pandemic and in the midst of the protest. Certainly want you to be safe and want you to make sure your health is sound and good. But I've really been reading the scriptures and asking God. And so for the next month or so, we'll be dealing with the theme from protest to progress, and to see if we can come up with some strategies to help our community to improve our race relations. And I'm kind of excited about what the future holds. So many have said that they're tired, and we all are tired. Many have said they have lost hope. We all have lost hope. But I believe in the midst of chaos, we can find community. We can find peace, and we can experience progress. And so be with me, be in prayer with us as we move through these series of sermons, and to help us to find some answers that would bring peace to a troubled world. I want to invite your attention to the book of Proverbs, the very first chapter of that book. I want to read verse 1, even though we would be using verses 7 through 19. And it says, "The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding." And verse 7, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother." I want to talk about today of these series of sermons. We'll talk about the strategy for our sons, the strategies for our sons. Number one, we're going to look at the Lord is our life source. The Lord is our life source. Two, we're going to look at the law is our life choice. The law is our life choice. And thirdly, we're going to look at the lesson is our life conclusion. The lesson is our life conclusion. In the book of Proverbs, that first chapter of that book, we see where David is introducing for us his son Solomon. Solomon is the writer of the book of Proverbs, but Solomon says to us who his parents are, who gave him birth. And not only did they give him birth, for we do know his parents, David, the king of Israel, and Bathsheba, the former wife of Uriah. And so David set Solomon down and gave him instructions about what it was to be a king, and how to be successful as a king and as a man. And his mother Bathsheba gave her son instruction for success and how to survive in a dog-eat-dog world. And so I thought about, with all that is happening with black men who are dying daily on our streets, And I had to think of my own two sons that I have and trying to give them instruction and trying to give them wisdom. And so Solomon shares with us three things. The first thing he says to us, that the Lord is our life source, meaning that God is the source of our lives. God is the one who has given us life. God is the one who sustains life. And the first thing that he says to us is that reverence for God is the beginning of knowledge. First of all, you must reverence God, respect God, acknowledge God, that there is a God. And when you do that, you'll find out that he's your only source. And every other source is only a resource from the main source. All of my life, all of my being, all of my movement, all of that comes from God. And God is saying to us in this season that he is our source. And whatever we need now, whether it's from the coronavirus, whether it's from protection on our city streets, whether it's protection from the police, God is saying to us that I'll be your provider. I'll be that what you need in the time of trouble. But not only reverence for God is the beginning of knowledge, rejection of God is the beginning of destruction. A lot of times when we're young, we think we know everything. We think we got all the answers, that we've been everywhere. We got all the knowledge, and what you have to do is sit down and sit under someone and open your ears, close your mouth, and listen to what wisdom is trying to tell you and teach you so that you can be a better person, a better man, a better woman. And so if I reject knowledge, if I reject God, then my destruction will come. John 3:16 says to us that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall have life. But he that believeth not shall be damned. And the damnable spirit, the damnable attitude that's in our world now, where we've been destroyed. But not only does he share with us the Lord is our source, but watch this, beloved. The law is our life choice. That you can choose right or wrong, good or bad. You can choose God or the devil. You can choose love or hate. And I'm going to stick a pin right there, Paul, there parenthetically, to tell you that you don't have to hate a man because of his skin color, or where he lives, or how he looks. In America, we can be better. We don't have to hate. We can love. Love is the most powerful resource that we have, and the whole world. We have to love. Now watch this. It tells us to love our enemies like we love ourselves. And if I don't love myself, it's hard for me to love you. And the problem that a lot of our white brothers have, they really don't love themselves. That's why it's so difficult for them to love others who don't look like them. The law is our life choice. The respect for our parents, that's the first thing he says to us, that when verse 7 says, for the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. That the beginning of wisdom is reverence God, but the beginning of wisdom also is respecting your parents, your father, mother. And And I know you want to respect your peers and honor them and feel like they got all the answers, but they ain't seen enough, ain't been through enough. But when you've been through the fire and the flood and God has brought you out, you ought to consult with somebody who's been there before. I want to tell you, we've been here before. We've seen the open casket of Emmett Till. We've seen the choking of a brother in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Brother Floyd. We've seen what happened to Tamir Rice. We've seen it, what happened in Ferguson to Michael Brown. And brother and sister, we got to lean and depend on our elders because they know the way. But not only do I see listening to our fathers and learning from our mothers, but I also lastly see the lessons of life. Conclusion. That's when it's all over with. And Ecclesiastes say the conclusion of life is to love God and to do that which is honorable. And that's what we are in this season. We must, as we strategize, as we come up with the plan, we must get in a huddle and the football vernacular, and we must come together. And when we come out of that huddle, we must have a vision. And without a vision, the people perish. We got to have a strategy. How we're going to fix this mess we're in. But I tell you, in the song of the old Negro spiritual, let Jesus fix it. Let him fix it for you. For he knows what to do. Congress don't know. The president don't know. The National Guard doesn't know. But God knows. And he will fix it.
On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame.
This has been a Sunday message from Dr. Calvin E. Cage Sr., Senior Pastor of the Meridian Hill Baptist Church. Thank you for listening, and please stay tuned for final remarks.
Bless you. Thank you for tuning in again. Certainly we hope and pray that something that has been said that will help you, certainly as we devise a plan, a strategy for our sons, our daughters, our families, our community. I believe we must sit down at the table of brotherhood and have a real discussion on race and come out of that discussion with a plan that would help us to remove some of the barriers and disparities in which we are experiencing in our communities. And I believe that as we move from protest to progress, that God will be in our plans. Thank you for listening. Continue to pray for us and support us. And make sure you tune in again at the same time, same station. God bless you.